Hello YouTube. It's been a little while since I uploaded any videos, and I've really been meaning to get around to putting up several, but I've been so swamped with school and my other responsibilities and duties that I haven't really had the chance. However, I have continued to communicate with individuals on a variety of platforms, and I've put together a few questions that I just wanted to quickly tackle, issues that need to be cleared up moving forward, because these are very common things that are asked by individuals who are both proponents of RBEs and are opponents of RBEs. The first is, and I received this on one of my videos, how do I keep a cool head when I'm talking to individuals who are approaching the conversation from a very ideologically charged perspective or position? So I'll cover that first, and then I'm going to discuss the preferability of a moneyless society and why the resource-based economy isn't a form of authoritarianism or totalitarianism. Finally, I'm going to discuss why RBE proponents in general don't want to associate with or embrace an alliance with socialism or communism. After all, much of the rhetoric used by RBE proponents is directly taken from Marx and other socialist and communist authors and critiques, so why don't we want to associate ourselves directly with the existing socialist contributors? So, how do I keep a cool head while in these very contentious conversations and debates? The honest answer is that I don't always. There are instances you can find of me around YouTube, belligerent or irascible as anybody else who's frustrated trying to discuss these very complicated issues. However, I am of the opinion, this is my personal philosophy, that we are all here for the first time. This is our first experience and our only experience being alive. We're going to make mistakes, we're going to say and do things which hurt people, and we're going to regret those things. When I'm writing a response to somebody, that gives me more time to calm down and think about what I actually want to get across to the person. And of course, just getting angry and being offensive to somebody doesn't really help the conversation along anyways, and you always have to be considerate of the third person, because often it's not just you and another person having a disagreement, especially online. It's you and another person having a disagreement while maybe one or several or hundreds of other people look on without commenting or adding to the conversation. So that really helps to temper my actions and my attitude and my words when I'm responding to people online. Okay, I'd like to now quickly change pace and talk about the second topic. Why isn't the resource-based economy, in my mind, an instance of authoritarianism or totalitarianism? Well, it's pretty simple. The RBE is designed to be a decentralized form of governance which works to enhance the human experience and increase individual autonomy and well-being. I used the word governance very deliberately in that sentence because I really want to highlight that the RBE is not just another form of government. It is a decentralized, as I mentioned, platform for conducting a sustainable, zero growth, and green economy that works in the interests of everyone. I'd like to take a moment here to address a fallacious assertion that comes predominantly from the right, that sharing the world's resources and operating our economy at sustainable levels leads to an entirely impoverished world population somehow. There's a very simple counter to this, which is the resource-based economy is about optimization. Think about all of the appliances and phones and pieces of technology, houses, everything else that we accumulate throughout our lifetimes. If we reduce all of the massive amount of waste from inferior products and excess items that we have no real need for, we could ensure that every person on the planet has access to the best, or as best as is sustainably possible. And this would greatly improve each individual's life. To quickly recap, the resource-based economy is not authoritarian or totalitarian because it is not a form of government. As to why a moneyless society would be preferable to a moneyed society, this is simply because the structural realities of the types of institutions and organizations that need to exist to accommodate the use of money really help to incentivize structurally, again, the types of corruption and amoral and immoral behavior that we see frequently in the world today. It doesn't really matter what kind of moneyed economy you have. The fact is, this is a resource which is positioned in the way of attaining other resources. And because we depend on those resources for survival, you are directly incentivizing a struggle between members competing for limited resources. And these are artificially limited by the mechanisms and logic of the market paradigm itself. Finally, I'd like to address the third topic, which is why don't many resource-based economy proponents want to be associated with, or want to themselves associate with, socialists and communists? A lot of the Marxist critiques and other communist and socialist critiques from a variety of other authors and philosophers do really accurately represent the faults with capitalism in startlingly brilliant ways, and that's undeniable. And much of the rhetoric that the resource-based economy proponents use really does seem to echo these sentiments. However, despite how relevant and meaningful Marxism, socialism, communism is and continues to be today, it does conflict in some key ways with what the resource-based economy is. For one, it is positioned often in, or most of the time, the vast majority of the time I would stipulate, in direct opposition to capitalism. And a part of this is genuine sentiments among socialists and communists, and another portion of this is simply the public perception in many capitalistic nations of socialism. But either way, it is unfortunate, and the resource-based economy does not want to get mired in this sort of ideological conflict. I've highlighted in another video the other various ways in which socialism and communism, especially communism, and the resource-based economy differ philosophically and ideologically. And you can check that video out. I'll leave a link right here for you. As a final note, I'll bring up something that I didn't bring up in my other video, which is there are an immense amount of schisms, too many schisms, even within socialist and communist circles, and definitively between them. There is no agreement on whether socialism should be completely anarchistic or whether it should be accomplished through governmental dismantling of economic institutions and structures which are preeminent in the capitalist paradigm. And there's not even agreement on whether or not money should be a feature of the society that is eventually set up after the process of socialism. And in fact, in some circles, socialism is considered the end goal. So all in all, I don't believe there can be any sort of firm alliance. Of course, that's not to insinuate that there is no agreement between RBE supporters and socialists and communists, but there's also agreement between us and capitalists on some things. The harsh truth is that socialism and communism seem to be, at the moment at least, incoherent, and because of that, incomprehensible. And to expect the resource-based economy proponents to develop a direct relationship to socialism and communism, I believe, is a little naive.